In this tense exchange, Senator Mazie Hirono confronts FBI Director Kash Patel over personnel reassignments and the agency's focus, pressing for clarity on whether counterterrorism and cyber specialists remain in their critical roles. Patel's evasive answers reveal a deeper conflict between congressional oversight and the FBI's operational transparency.
FBI counterterrorist special agents and investigators were reassigned to assist with immigration enforcement. Reportedly, these counterterrorism experts were returned to the jobs they trained for in late January after Iran threatened to retaliate for our strikes on their nuclear facilities. Have those experts remained in the jobs they trained for since that time? Yes or no?
FBI agents' primary responsibility is exactly what they are assigned to do. We always work with our
So since they
interagency
returned
part.
to their positions,
If you're not
are
going to
they
let
still
me
in
answer,
those
why don't you
positions?
just do your soliloquy in the 4.5 minutes you have
I
left?
am not asking for a soliloquy. It's just a yes or no. Are those people who are returned to their jobs still on those jobs? Yes or no?
They never left.
What was that?
They never left their primary job. It is a surge of resources in law enforcement working with the interagency to combat violent crime and reduce violent crime in historic proportions.
That's your testimony. Okay, Director Patel, the FBI is also the lead federal agency for investigating cyber attacks and
Yes.
cyber intrusions, both by foreign nation states and by non-state hacker groups. Since President Trump's inauguration, the executive assistant director in charge of the criminal and cyber branch and the head of the FBI's cyber division have both left the FBI. What are the names of the people who replace them in those positions?
The cyber branch is one of the most impressive at the FBI. 409 arrests this year, 169 convictions. That's a 42% increase from the same time last year.
It's that
So
branch,
any
Mr.
suggestion that
Patel.
the FBI cyber division is not operating at full capacity and better than ever before, the leadership at the branch is implementing these changes necessary to attack the cyber and ransomware infrastructure operators
You know
for Iran,
why
China,
they're
and
important? I
Russia.
want to know who has those positions, since the people who originally were there,
Supremely
are no longer
qualified
there.
individuals have those
Who
positions.
are they?
Supremely qualified individuals.
Who are they? What are the names?
You're not
You
getting
don't
them.
know. Special agents who investigate cybercrime were also reassigned for immigration enforcement. Have those expert investigators returned to their duties? Yes or no?
All agents remained on their primary duties while surging to allocate resources for interagency operations to the Homeland Security task forces across this country.
So are you?
Am I what?
See, I'm not getting the yes or no answers. I get all this explanation. So there you go.
No, you get the work that
Are
the men
you
and women of the
planning
FBI are doing. And
Any
you don't want that.
additional personnel cuts to the cyber division in the future?
The only people that will be terminated at the FBI will be those that violate their oath of office or fail to meet the high standards at the FBI.
Director Patel, the FBI is meant to be the tip of the spear in combating terrorism against the United States from both foreign and domestic sources. It's also our lead agency in fighting the hackers who target our businesses and critical infrastructure. But instead of a specialized role fighting these kinds of terrorists, hackers, and spies, you have the FBI playing the role of local police and helping with immigration enforcement. I'm going to move on to my, you've been asked some questions about changes to your hiring standard, and including college degrees and possibly the age. But, one question I had is, that you are now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences. Are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring a physical program at BFTC at Quantico because FBI agents carrying guns in the field have to chase down bad guys and do really hard work. The physical fitness standards of those agents
So
are
are
being
you requiring
appropriately
these
assessed.
kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring everybody to pass the 1811 standards at BFTC. If you want to chase down a bad guy
Excuse me.
and put
the
him in
reason I
handcuffs, you
ask-
better be able to do a pull-up.
The reason I ask is that there are concerns about whether or not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents.
Doing one
Anyway,
pull-up
Mr.
is not
Patel,
harsh,
I
and there are
am
always
gravely
medical
concerned.
exemptions to that.
I am gravely concerned by the state of the FBI under your control. And in fact, you are willing to take a cut on your agency of almost $500 million. So the FBI is losing dedicated employees, decades of expertise and specialization, leading to loss to early retirements, firings, and reassignments to immigration enforcement or conducting local police work. Thousands have already left. For as long as you remain as the head of the FBI, I fear the number of departures and summary firings will continue to grow. Mr. Patel, before the vote on your nomination of this committee, I noted that your most significant qualification, this is not just something that I noted, but others, your most significant
Gets this place going.
qualification was your 100% loyalty to President Trump. And I fear that that continues to be the motivating factor in your position as FBI Director. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This exchange between Senator Mazie Hirono and FBI Director Kash Patel lays bare a deep divide over what the FBI is supposed to be and who it is ultimately accountable to. Hirono's questions are tightly focused and operational, not ideological. She asks for clear yes or no answers about whether counterterrorism and cyber specialists were pulled off their core missions and whether they have been fully restored to those roles. Patel's responses consistently avoid that clarity. Instead of answering directly, he reframes temporary reassignments as surges, collapses specialized national security work into generic law enforcement, and treats precision as an inconvenience rather than a requirement of oversight. What's striking is how often Patel substitutes performance statistics for transparency. When asked whether cyber leadership positions were vacated and who now holds them, he cites arrest numbers and conviction rates. Those metrics may sound impressive, but they don't answer the senator's question. Hirono is probing institutional capacity and continuity. Who is leading, who is accountable, and whether expertise is being preserved. Patel's refusal to name replacements, coupled with his insistence that the cyber division is better than ever, creates a credibility gap. Strong leadership should withstand scrutiny. Withholding names from Congress suggests either defensiveness or politicization, not confidence. The same pattern appears around immigration enforcement. Hirono presses Patel on whether highly trained counterterrorism and cyber agents were diverted from their specialized missions to assist with immigration operations. Patel insists they never left their primary duties, yet also describes surges and reallocations that plainly suggest otherwise. This semantic maneuvering matters because the FBI's value lies precisely in what local police and other agencies cannot do: counterterrorism, counterintelligence, and cyber defense. When those missions are blurred or deprioritized, the country absorbs real risk, even if street-level crime numbers look good on paper. The exchange over physical fitness standards underscores another tension. Patel frames stricter pull-up requirements as common sense for armed agents, while Hirono raises concerns about whether these standards disproportionately exclude qualified candidates, particularly women. This isn't a debate about toughness. It's about whether the FBI is narrowing its talent pipeline at the same time it is hemorrhaging experienced personnel. In an agency already dealing with retirements, resignations, and reassignments, raising barriers without clear justification risks compounding long-term staffing problems. Hirono's focus on accountability highlights a broader structural concern: the erosion of specialized expertise at the FBI. Thousands of departures, early retirements, and reassignments are not just numbers. They represent institutional knowledge, operational capacity, and years of training that cannot be easily replaced. By sidestepping direct answers, Patel avoids admitting how these personnel shifts may impact readiness for the FBI's core missions. The pattern of deflection signals an agency struggling to balance political pressures, public perception, and genuine national security needs. Hirono's closing critique crystallizes the broader issue. She argues that under Kash Patel's leadership, the FBI is drifting away from its core mission and toward a model shaped by loyalty and politics rather than expertise and independence. Patel rejects that framing, but he never fully engages the substance of her concerns. Instead, he relies on generalized assurances, selective metrics, and repeated refusals to provide specifics. This approach is particularly concerning given the rising threats to national security, from cyber attacks and ransomware operations to domestic extremism. When Congress asks whether the nation's top law enforcement and intelligence agency is still focused on terrorists, hackers, and spies, the answers should be clear, direct, and verifiable. In this exchange, they are not, and that silence speaks loudly about the state of accountability at the FBI. Ultimately, this hearing demonstrates the tension between oversight and executive defensiveness. Senator Hirono is not seeking sensational headlines. She is trying to ensure that the FBI remains capable, transparent, and accountable. Patel's avoidance of concrete data, coupled with his emphasis on metrics over people and processes, underscores the risks of prioritizing optics and loyalty over operational integrity. For the American public, the stakes are high. Clarity, competence, and independence in the FBI are not abstract ideals. They are essential for national security and the rule of law.